What's up everyone, welcome to a brand new series. This one's kind of been a long time coming. With Piccolo having his potential unlocked in Super Hero, people were wondering what would happen if it came earlier. So I started playing with that idea. Initially the scenario was just supposed to be what if Piccolo had his potential unlocked early, and that still pretty much is the root of it. But it morphed into something else, something that I feel like will have much bigger effects. As you can tell by the title, this is a scenario where Piccolo actually becomes the strongest, remaining as such. And this isn't completely out of the ordinary. Back in the Cell Saga, Piccolo briefly was the strongest of our heroes after he fused with Kami. But this time there's a few changes that make that more of a permanent thing. We'll be seeing how that affects the story in this brand new series, What If Piccolo Was the Strongest? We'll set a like goal of 4,500 likes. If we hit that, I'll continue this into a full story. Let's begin. So where is this actually going to happen? There's a pretty simple explanation actually for where this begins. I would say this is going to happen in the Cell Saga. After merging with Nail on Namek, he knows of potential unlocking. And it's not like he could do it on Namek anyways, because by the time he gets there and learns of it after merging with Nail, it would be too late for him to make a wish to Porunga for obvious reasons. And there's also no way for Guru to do it either because also obvious reasons. And there is that point where Guru is briefly on Earth, but that wouldn't be his main focus at that point. It would be kind of a weird place for him to unlock it, but he keeps it in mind after the fact. And this explanation is perfectly sound because that's exactly why he went to Dende in the movie in the first place. It's just that this is going to happen earlier. And that's why I chose the Android Saga. When Trunks shows up, Piccolo decides he's going to go with his normal training, wanting to work for his power for now, just to see what he's capable of. But he will keep this in mind as a last resort, alongside Namekian fusion. Had he wanted to do this right away, I feel like he would have gone to Kami too at the same time, deciding to fuse with him, which he didn't do in the main story, so I don't see him doing that here with power unlocking as well. So the Android Saga starts pretty normally, and the first change is actually when Piccolo goes to the lookout to try and fuse with Kami. Kami declines at first, saying the Dragon Balls will become dormant. They might need them after all. And Piccolo asks if he can at least unlock his potential. He knows the Elder on Namek was able to do that, so shouldn't Kami be able to do the same? And Kami isn't even aware of that. It probably is within the scope of his abilities, he's definitely old enough for it, but he doesn't even know how to do so. He even tries to do it, but nothing comes of it. Piccolo's pretty agitated by this. He said they needed to defeat the android somehow. He could at least merge with him. Even the Saiyans can't overcome the androids, but surely a Super Namekian like them fusing would be able to do so. It's not like they could just go to Namek either. They've got no clue where it is just yet, and even if they did consult King Kai, Goku's not even awake to transport them there. But he comes up with an idea. He knows a way to get exactly what he wants, and this might even force Kami to do what he wanted in the first place. He tells Kami he's gonna get the Dragon Balls on his own. He'll have Shenron unlock his potential. Surely, with a wish, he could do something like that. And Kami tells Piccolo to wait, don't be so rash, but Piccolo already rockets off. And he has to make haste. He wants this to happen as quickly as he can. He goes to Bulma and gets the Dragon Ball radar. She's a bit freaked out because they still don't know what Piccolo's capable of, but he assures he's doing this for the androids. It's not like she could stop him either. She just hopes things work out for the best. Kami's on the lookout, watching as Piccolo gathers the Dragon Balls. And at first he doesn't like the idea of it, but the more he thinks about it, he realizes this might actually work. And it might be even more necessary than they thought. He feels a great evil looming about. He has for the past 4 years. With the Dragon Balls gathered, Piccolo summons Shenron. It's only one wish and he hopes that Shenron can perform it. Even if Kami doesn't know how to do it, surely his dragon can do so. And he wonders, well, if he's doing this wish, maybe he should just do it for all the others too. Have Shenron unlock all their potentials. And he asks Shenron, and Shenron just says it's beyond his power. First of all, doing that for so many people at once, especially so many strong people, is not going to work out. And on second thought, Piccolo realizes this might not be the best idea. Also because it's not like they could even affect people unwillingly, at least not those stronger than him. The androids are a good example. He wasn't able to revert them back to normal, but he removed the bomb from them. Or, in a similar case, Porunga trying to bring Goku back. He couldn't bring Goku back against his will, and Goku actually had a say in it, not wanting to be brought back. Goku's not conscious, but he probably wouldn't want this handed to him. It might work nice for Gohan and Trunks, but his wish is kind of a loaded one too. Shenron says they need to make separate wishes for those, and he kind of wants to exclude Vegeta purposefully because he thinks that might be a bad idea. So if he did that with Trunks and not with Vegeta, that would definitely cause a lot of issues. So besides this not even being possible for Shenron, it's also probably not a great idea, for other reasons as well. But Shenron says he will be capable of unlocking Piccolo's potential alone if he wants. This is a great plan. He's linked with Kami after all. If he were to die, the Dragon Balls would be gone regardless, and if he fused with Kami, the Dragon Balls would be gone too. So they might as well use the Dragon Balls to help Piccolo go stronger. If Piccolo's too weak to fight the androids, they're bound to disappear. And even if he does fuse with Kami and fight the androids then, they're going to disappear anyways. He might as well get a little bit something extra out of them, instead of just letting them go to waste. And Shenron unlocks his potential. He's made noticeably stronger. It's not a huge boost, and no, it's not going to be something like in Super Hero because he was way further along by then. It's going to be relative to the actual arc where he does it, and there's also the fact that he isn't fused with Kami yet. He feels the power flowing through him, and he even changes in appearance too. This is his new power awakened form, one that constantly taps into his inner power, growing alongside his potential in himself. Shenron bids Piccolo farewell, and Piccolo is impressed with his strength, but he knows he can grow even stronger. And there is kind of an issue. They don't know how truly strong the androids are, they can't sense it, and there's 3 of them. Yeah, they had that fight, but those androids were definitely not being too serious anyway. If Piccolo wants to really assure victory, he still needs to fuse with Kami. Again, this is necessary regardless. The wish at least helps mitigate things if Piccolo was attacked by the androids and couldn't survive it. But if he wants to win, they need that fusion. Kami calls Piccolo to the lookout soon after. This is around the time when Bulma, Trunks, and Gohan find out about the other time machine, with Cell lurking around and Kami discovering him too. He knows Piccolo's gotten the Dragon Balls, and he senses great increase in power, but he tells Piccolo it might not be enough, especially with this other threat looming about. They don't know who or what it is and how powerful this threat is. Combined with the androids, they're going to need to really assure that something's going to be able to defeat them. Kami tells Piccolo he's accepted the fusion. His strength may not do much for Earth anyways, and if they really needed extra Dragon Balls, they could find a new Guardian. But for now, this is more important. This way, they'll save Earth, and Piccolo's glad Kami's finally come around to his senses. Kami says goodbye to Popo, and the 2 Namekians fuse. But the effect is far greater than any of them could have ever expected. Immediately after the fusion, Piccolo notices this unfathomable power. The weirdest part is, he's not transformed right now. He's not in his power awakened state. His normal base form. It feels stronger than his form was that he just got. So if he were to transform into that, imagine how powerful it would be. Popo looks on with disbelief too, as Piccolo then powers up into his power awakened state, accidentally breaking part of the lookout off, with Piccolo quickly catching it with telekinesis and repairing it with his own magic. Popo is knocked on his back and looks up, seeing that Piccolo effortlessly just broke the lookout and then fixed it. Piccolo, Kami, or whoever this Namekian is, he apologizes. He's got to be more careful around this sacred place. He needed more power, but he didn't know it would be like this. The nameless Namekian says goodbye to Popo. With Piccolo now having the knowledge that Kami had, he sees what he sensed with Cell, and he goes immediately to stop this threat. Although Piccolo powering up so much so quickly, that's definitely going to set off some alarms. Not just with the people that are his friends, but the people that he's going up against. Android 16's sensors pick up on this. A huge increase in power far away. He can't really tell what it is, and the weirdest part is, he doesn't know who it is. Obviously 17 and 18 can't even sense it, but Cell can. Piccolo immediately hides his power, going into the city where Cell is, encountering the monster. And Cell inquires, was that power that he just sensed Piccolo's? It didn't necessarily feel like it, but it also kinda did at the same time. He also noticed that someone summoned Shenron. He saw the sky turn dark. Everyone did. Well, Piccolo can't really lie here. Cell knows what's going on. And he kinda makes up a half-truth. He says he summoned Shenron to get some more power to defeat the androids, but unfortunately, he doesn't think it'll be enough, especially because he doesn't know who this guy is. But he does want to know who Cell is, so he acts like he's weakened, acting like he can't defeat Cell. He powers up and Cell briefly does sense that power, but realizes that he can overcome this, especially because it seems to be fleeting. Piccolo constantly lowers his power, making it seem like he can't contain it. He makes it look like he's tired too. He thinks of how quickly Goku's power dropped after getting the heart virus, and that's a perfect feint here. He'll pretend that he's infected too. That's all he could think of. If Cell thinks that he's too powerful, he's gonna run away. But if he thinks he could beat Piccolo, then Piccolo can get some information out of him and figure out what's going on here. That's his main goal. So he pretends this, and Cell buys it too. Not only can't Piccolo contain this new power, but it seems he might be infected by this virus. Cell's surprised that this is the case, but it seems plausible. And he laughs. Even with the help from the Dragon Balls, it seems Piccolo still won't be enough to defeat him. He inquires who Cell is, and Cell obliges. Piccolo's gonna die anyway, so he might as well tell him. And that's really all he needed to know. Piccolo thanks Cell, and then immediately, he goes into his power awakened state. He tells Cell he's glad he bought that story, and vanishes from Cell's sight. Cell looks around desperately, trying to figure out where Piccolo is. But then an arm stretches out from far away, grabbing Cell, then dragging him in as Piccolo then hits him with a punch from his other arm. Cell's neck breaks from this. Piccolo didn't realize how powerful he was now. He didn't mean to do that, but that's gonna make it even easier to finish him off. He grabs onto Cell's tail, spinning him around and then flinging him far away. As Cell flies through the air, through all the collapsed buildings, he can't even really tell what's going on. But Piccolo moves so fast that he then appears where Cell's about to land. He unhinges his jaw, launching a massive mouth beat. Cell is completely incinerated. Nothing is left of him, which is good because he doesn't know the true extent of Cell's regeneration. Immediately after this fight, some of the other fighters come over. So that power was Piccolo, and what was that person he was just fighting? He says he'll explain later. It's gonna take a bit to explain. He wants to find the androids, but they're probably gonna have to wait a bit for that. They don't know how to find them or where they could even start looking. So he just tells them what went on. He can't really hide the part about Shenron either because they saw the sky turn black. Vegeta especially wants to know what the wish was used for. And Piccolo said the Dragon Balls would have been gone regardless. Him using the Dragon Balls was just a bit extra, making sure they didn't go to waste. Even though it might have been a good idea to save them in case the androids killed anybody. But he says it's gonna be fine too. They can get another Guardian for Earth. And Vegeta's angered at how Piccolo got so strong so quickly. How is he falling this far behind? And to think he used the Dragon Balls for power. It angers Vegeta to no end, and he rockets off. Eventually Goku does wake up, wanting to train at the lookout just in case. Amazed at Piccolo's new power, and Goku's glad that Piccolo is the strong, but they can't sense how strong the androids are. Piccolo wanted to be safe rather than sorry, and Goku does too. Even if the androids can be defeated by Piccolo, it's better to reassure themselves by going to the lookout and actually training for a bit. And Piccolo says that's a fair point. If he does find the androids, he'll try to defeat them. But it's better to be safe. And the Saiyans can grow stronger in the meantime. Trunks kinda needs this too because it's a good way for him to defeat the androids in his timeline. Even though Bulma's gonna have the remote finished soon, so that's also being safe. So you can see how Piccolo being the strongest is already affecting the group. Everyone's playing things a lot more safely. Which is funny because the Android saga started out the exact opposite way. People weren't playing it safely. And this is unintentional by now. But soon enough, the effects of Piccolo being the top person in the group, that's gonna have more effects than just raw strength. Although we're gonna be seeing that later on in the series if it continues. At Kame House, the androids eventually arrive, looking for Goku. He's not even there because he's on the lookout by now. But this is perfect because Piccolo's there, and he leads the androids away. This time he'll do it. Android 16 is surprisingly a little cautious. He tells 17 and 18, be careful. They still don't know what that power increase was. There might be another foe lurking out there that I don't know about. 17 tells 16 to relax. They're just fighting Piccolo. They know how strong he is. And 17 decides he's gonna fight Piccolo alone. And once again, this is good. Piccolo could fight strategically. He'll only use his base form for now. He could feign weakness, make the androids think they have the upper hand. This one especially seems cocky. He shows a slight bit of his power, and then 16 yells out at 17. He's not fighting Piccolo. That power, it doesn't match his database. That's not Piccolo's power. But it's already too late. Piccolo starts absolutely demolishing Android 17. And he's surprised too. This is only a fraction of his base power, so he knows he could actually defeat them with whatever other powers he has too. Hell, he might be able to take all three of them on at once without transforming. He thinks back to Cell. When he transformed, he was far too powerful there, so maybe it's kind of overkill here too. Hey, better safe than sorry after all. 18 jumps into fight with 17, but it's still not enough. And no matter what they do, even with them having infinite energy, it's not really gonna help because they're already losing by default. 17 even tries throwing up barriers, not just around him but his sister too. They essentially amount to nothing. Piccolo punches through them with ease, like a hot knife through butter. Piccolo tells the androids they're done for, and he lets them in on a little secret. This isn't his full power. Not even close. He tests out transforming again, going into his power awakened state. 16 tries to jump in and fight, but just from Piccolo powering up alone, the entire island is decimated, and all the androids are knocked back. 16 tells the other two androids to leave. He's gonna self-destruct and try and kill Piccolo that way. And once again, he jumps in, wrapping himself around Piccolo. It's not like Piccolo couldn't hear what he just said. He knows what 16's trying to do. And simply, he bulks himself up a little bit, and this breaks 16's arms off, freeing Piccolo from his grasp. 16 begins glowing, still trying to self-destruct, but Piccolo simply pierces his hand through him, grabbing a mess of wires and components, with one of them looking suspiciously like it's gonna explode. Was this his bomb? Piccolo simply flings it out into the atmosphere, with a massive explosion above. It looks like another sun in the sky, except way closer. Everything glows orange from the explosion, with Piccolo simply finishing off 16. The other two androids are there dumbfounded, looking on. The ominous glow of the explosion almost makes Piccolo look orange in color too. He looks at them with a menacing glare, and Piccolo then disappears from sight. 17 then hears an explosion next to him. With a single ki blast from one hand, Piccolo eradicates Android 18, and before 17 can even fight back, the same happens with him. The explosion dissipates up above, with the area returning to normal, except for the island that's missing. Piccolo then powers down, completely uninjured and unfazed, and he smiles, thanking Kami for his help. He flies back over to Kame House, with everyone there just looking on completely terrified actually. They knew Piccolo was stronger, but not like this. But Piccolo assures him, they don't need to be scared of him. He's no longer Piccolo, nor is he Kami. He's something else completely different. He's not the Demon King they knew before. But still, call him Piccolo, don't call him like Kamikolo or whatever. Eventually, Vegeta and Trunks exit the Room of Spirit and Time, finding out that their power's not actually needed. Oh, they still grew a lot stronger though, and Vegeta's confident. This new form beyond Super Saiyan, which he calls Super Vegeta, this will definitely be above where Piccolo is. And Trunks is confident too. This is going to be great. Well, first of all, Piccolo had the power here to eradicate the androids, that's awesome. And not just that, but now he has this power to back himself up. And on top of that, just in case, he has a remote from Bulma to destroy the androids if he needs. And the blueprints do that too. So in case it does need tweaking, future Bulma could do the same. And he's obviously told about Cell as well. He'll train in preparation for him. Trunks thanks all of them and leaves. Although Goku still does kind of want to go in the Room of Spirit and Time with Gohan. It might be a nice opportunity, and Piccolo actually suggested too. He knows the two of them can grow stronger. And he's gonna need someone to test his power out against after all. He was too much for the androids. But Vegeta steps in. He'll be the one to do that. Goku says they'll be out in a day. And after that, they can even go to Namek to get a new Guardian. Maybe that Dende guy would be a nice pick. You know, that kid Namekian that helped them back there. And while they wait for Goku and Gohan to come back, Vegeta's gonna prove his power against Piccolo. He's surpassed him. He knows it. The two of them find an open area, and Vegeta powers up, saying this is his evolution beyond Super Saiyan. He'll call this Super Vegeta. And he wants Piccolo to hold nothing back too. And Piccolo assumes a battle stance, and Vegeta questions him. He's not even gonna throw off his weighted clothing, and Piccolo smirks. He wants to pace himself at first. Vegeta calls him quite cocky for that, not realizing the irony in that statement. and the two assume a battle stance, ready to spar. This is where we'll leave off for now. What's going to happen with Vegeta now knowing that Piccolo's ahead? You guys could probably guess the outcome of that fight, but we'll be seeing more of it in the next part. And what's going to happen with Piccolo basically as the strongest person in the group now? How will he keep that strength? Leave your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already, especially if you want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.